You are welcome to yet another episode of HN What's Your Say? The #1 listening show, where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring R. Kelly. Real name Robert Sylvester Kelly. Also known as the R&B King. In today's episode, we're diving into one of the most controversial legal decisions in the federal case against R. Kelly. A decision that continues to divide legal experts, defense attorneys and everyday Americans who simply want to understand how the justice system is supposed to work. The focus of this video is not on every aspect of the case, not on sentencing, and certainly not on media narratives. Today we are focused on one single question. Why was the RICO charge used against R. Kelly and why was it unusual for this type of case? To answer this, we need to go step by step, brick by brick and really understand what RICO is, how it's supposed to be used and what made its application in this case stand out not just as aggressive but as unprecedented. Let's begin with the basics. RICO, known in full as the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, was passed in 1970. It was created to dismantle mafia families, drug cartels, bribery networks and organized criminal enterprises. RICO was a way for prosecutors to take down entire hierarchies of crime where leaders insulated themselves behind layers of underlings. It wasn't designed for isolated misconduct. It wasn't designed for interpersonal relationships. And it wasn't designed for celebrity lifestyles, tour teams, or music industry entourages. The purpose of RICO was clear: you use it when you have a structured, ongoing criminal organization, or call it an enterprise, whose entire purpose is to commit coordinated illegal acts. Gangs, mafias, cartels, extortion rings, human trafficking networks. Levels of criminal activity where organized planning, profit-seeking and shared criminal goals are at the center of the enterprise. Historically, RICO cases have always required two things. First, a genuine criminal enterprise. Second, multiple individuals knowingly participating in criminal activities that benefit the enterprise. But in the case against R. Kelly, something very different happened. Federal prosecutors did not point to a mafia-style organization. They did not prove R. Kelly had a criminal hierarchy with captains and enforcers. They did not present a system of profit-based crime or financial racketeering. Instead, they took his music career, his label affiliations, his employees, his assistants, his drivers, his security plus his girlfriends and reinterpreted these ordinary and everyday relationships as components of an organized criminal enterprise. This is where the case becomes rather unusual. Because historically, an illegal or criminal enterprise must be something that exists for the purpose of committing crimes. But in this case, the enterprise existed for the purpose of producing music, running tours, maintaining a celebrity schedule and supporting an R&B superstar's career. This wasn't a criminal enterprise. It was a business just like any other celebrity's business. Yet prosecutors repurposed that normal entertainment structure and defined it as an organization purposed for criminal activity. This raised eyebrows among lawyers for one simple reason. Turning a music career into a RICO enterprise is not how the law was intended to function. To secure a RICO conviction, prosecutors needed to show that the enterprise worked together with a shared purpose to commit crimes. But in the Kelly case, the government did not accuse his employees of committing crimes. They were not indicted as co-conspirators. They were not charged with aiding or abetting. They weren't portrayed as criminals and those who appeared in court were acquitted. Instead, they were defined as drivers, runners and assistants who performed ordinary job tasks without criminal intent. This creates a contradiction. How can an enterprise exist if its members are not criminals working together? Legal scholars have openly questioned how RICO can stand when the so-called enterprise members had no criminal knowledge, no criminal involvement and no criminal intentions. What makes this even more unusual is the way prosecutors shaped the narrative. They didn't argue that the enterprise gained any financial profits from illegal behavior. They argued that the enterprise existed to promote and protect R. Kelly. Lines used regularly to describe the function of any celebrity's team. Under this logic, Any superstar with assistants and staff could be interpreted as the head of a criminal enterprise if someone alleges wrongdoing, even if staff members were unaware and not a part of it. Next, we look at the alleged patterns of activity used to justify RICO. Every RICO case requires predicate acts. Acts that fit specific categories recognized under the statute. In traditional RICO cases, these are things like extortion, loan sharking, bribery, money laundering, drug trafficking, illegal gambling, gun running, and similar crimes coordinated by an organization. But the predicates in R. Kelly's case were unusual. They were not business crimes. They were not financially motivated. They were not acts committed by multiple members of the alleged enterprise. They were simply acts assigned to R. Kelly himself. This is another deviation from standard RICO application. Typically, RICO predicates are spread across an organization to show systemic criminal behavior. But in this case, the predicates were individualized and then retroactively used to construct an enterprise around him. Legal analysts have noted that this approach flips RICO upside down. Instead of proving an enterprise and then identifying its crimes, prosecutors first identified accusations and then built an enterprise theory around those accusations. This is exactly why this case stands out in federal legal history. Another unusual feature of the RICO charge is the absence of financial motivation. Most RICO cases revolve around money, illicit profits, money laundering schemes, and underground economies. But there was no financial motive identified in R. Kelly's case. No claims that employees received criminal payments. No allegations of racketeering profits. No evidence of criminal income streams. This lack of financial gain is significant. It removes the economic backbone of what a RICO case typically requires. When prosecutors stretch RICO beyond its intended purpose, they risk turning it into a catch-all tool that can be applied to situations it was never meant to address. And in this instance, many legal scholars believe that's exactly what happened. Then there's the matter of structure. RICO requires a structure, roles, responsibilities, and hierarchy. In classic RICO cases, you have clear roles: boss, underboss, captains, soldiers, and associates. Each part of the enterprise contributes knowingly to the criminal operation. But in R. Kelly's case, the structure prosecutors pointed to was the same structure any touring artist has: a manager, assistants, runners, drivers, booking agents, and security detail. The roles were ordinary. The responsibilities were ordinary. And nothing about the structure resembled a criminal organization. This is why so many people question the legitimacy of labeling a music career as a racketeering enterprise. And let's look at another layer of intent. Intent is central to RICO. Under the law, an enterprise must have collective intent to carry out crimes. But the government did not argue that his employees had criminal intent. They did not show that staff members participated in criminal acts knowingly. In fact, many testified they did not know about any wrongdoing at the time. This creates a legal inconsistency. How can an enterprise function without shared criminal intent? For RICO's 50-plus years in existence, prosecutors have always had to show that individuals knowingly participated in the criminal operation. Members of the Gambino family knew they were extorting people. Members of drug cartels knew they were trafficking substances. Members of corruption rings knew they were taking bribes. But in this case, the enterprise consisted of people who were not only unaware of criminal activity, but who were never charged with anything. This is highly unusual in RICO history. Another point that legal analysts highlight is the lack of coordinated criminal planning. RICO requires coordination. Meetings, communications, and shared strategies to commit crimes. But in R. Kelly's case, prosecutors did not present evidence of planning sessions, criminal meetings, or coordinated illegal strategies. Instead, they relied on recounting separate personal incidents and grouping them under the RICO umbrella. This is yet another major divergence from typical RICO application. The law was not created to bundle isolated personal conduct and call it organized crime. It was created to destroy sophisticated criminal networks, not to reinterpret individual behavior as racketeering. Finally, it's important to emphasize how unprecedented this charge truly was. Legal experts across the country have acknowledged that using RICO in this way sets a new precedent. One in which a celebrity's lifestyle can be reconstructed as a criminal operation even when his or her staff had no criminal involvement. When intent was not shared, when financial gain was non-existent, and when the enterprise's structure matched nothing more than the structure of a touring music operation. This is why many argue the charge was not simply unusual. It was extraordinary. It stretched the definition of RICO into territory it had never been before. And regardless of what anyone believes about the accusations or the public narrative surrounding the case, the RICO charge was inappropriate. That is all we had for you today on HN What's Your Say? To keep updated whenever we post a new video, subscribe to this channel now. Also remember to hit the bell icon and enable notifications. And feel free to share your opinions with us in the comment section below, and let us know if you would like us to publish your views in our next release. We value all our subscribers' opinions.